Good morning. This is Send 7 World News in 7 minutes. I'm Stephen Devincenzi. Today is Friday, the 3rd of July, 2026. Starting in Europe today, in Ukraine's capital city, Kyiv, at least 25 people were killed yesterday by Russian drones and missiles that largely hit residential areas. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko announced that today would be a day of mourning. Deaths were also reported yesterday by Russian strikes in Zaporizhia region, Donetsk region, and Dnipropetrovsk region. Russia's defense ministry said that it hit military targets and energy infrastructure. The Center for Strategic and International Studies has estimated that the war in Ukraine has now led to more than 2 million military casualties, including between 400,000 and 450,000 Russian soldiers killed, out of a total of 1.4 million Russian casualties. It also estimates that overall there have been approximately 3 Russian soldiers killed for every 1 Ukrainian soldier killed. However, over the last few months, this has increased to a rate of 8 Russian soldiers killed for every Ukrainian soldier. Russia has started to import petrol from India, according to Reuters news agency. Ukraine has been targeting Russian oil production and infrastructure over the last few months, causing petrol shortages in many areas. In Albania, there were more anti-government protests yesterday, with the police using water cannon and tear gas to disperse protesters. A few weeks ago, protests started against a planned luxury resort backed by US President Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner. However, the protests have now grown to include the rejection of other development projects and corruption. In France, the Tour de France, the world's most important cycling race, may have to postpone sections of the race because of the heat, according to Thierry Gouvenou, the technical director. The race has never been postponed because of heat before. The Tour de France is scheduled to start from the Spanish city of Barcelona tomorrow. Asia. In Thailand, 9 monks have died and over 20 have been injured after a large car crashed into them in the northeastern province of Mukdahan. Officials have said that the car was being driven by an 11-year-old boy with special needs. In Indonesia's Aceh province, a man and woman have been publicly whipped for kissing on TikTok. The 22-year-old man and 25-year-old woman were sentenced by an Islamic Sharia court for kissing without being married and were both sentenced to 21 whips with a cane. Aceh is the only province in Indonesia which enforces Islamic criminal law. Africa. In Ethiopia, community groups have told people that they have to kill their own dogs because 3 children have died of rabies recently. Mayor of the town of Hosanna, Samuel Shigute, told the BBC that the killing of dogs was not ordered by his administration. Rabies in humans is normally fatal if it is not treated before symptoms show. In Somalia, a 27-year-old woman has been sentenced to 3 years in prison for comments made on social media. Sadia Ali, who is a nursing graduate but works as a rickshaw driver, was charged with insulting government institutions after writing comments complaining about unemployment, corruption, forced evictions, and high prices. Americas. In Venezuela, a man was pulled alive from under a collapsed shopping centre yesterday, 8 days after the earthquakes that destroyed hundreds of buildings. Almost 2,300 people have been declared dead. However, the International Rescue Committee has said that around 50,000 people are missing. United States President Donald Trump has reported over $1.4 billion of income from his cryptocurrency business, according to financial records seen by Reuters. Almost half of this has come from the Trump meme coin cryptocurrency. Trump has been accused of corruption and of using the office of the presidency to enrich himself. On Wednesday, Trump flew for the first time on the new Air Force One aeroplane, which has been gifted to the Trump administration from Qatar and is expected to be transferred to Trump's presidential library when he leaves office. Trump told journalists it was the best plane ever built.
I said to Boeing, what's the best one? They said, this is the best plane ever built, and you're going to have the privilege of flying it, and I have a privilege also of flying it.
North America is facing a heat wave over the next few days, with many football World Cup hosting cities expecting extreme heat. The US city of Philadelphia, which is hosting France versus Paraguay tomorrow, could reach 39 degrees. Kansas, which is hosting Colombia versus Ghana today, could feel like 43. Some new stadiums have retractable roofs and air conditioning, but Philadelphia and Kansas don't. And all three of the host countries of the World Cup have made it to the last 16. This is the first time that Canada has ever reached the knockout stage of the World Cup. Canada will play Morocco tomorrow. Mexico won its first World Cup knockout game in 40 years by beating Ecuador on Wednesday. Mexico will play England on Monday. The United States will play Belgium on Tuesday. A big thank you to Jean Carlos in Brazil for becoming our newest supporter. This podcast is made possible by our amazing supporters like Jean Carlos, who also have access to the transcripts, vocabulary lists, worksheets, and world news quizzes. And we give 10% of our profit to highly effective charities. More information at send7.org. Have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday.